The Falcons have a few stars like Deion Sanders and quarterback Chris Miller connecting with Sean Collins, but it has mainly been a season of fumbles, which leads to the question, will head coach Marion Campbell go up in flames? A sold-out Superdome here in New Orleans, Louisiana, site of today's NFC West Division battle between longtime rivals Atlanta and New Orleans. And good afternoon, everyone. I'm James Brown. Well, the Atlanta Falcons are building toward the future with a crop of very young but talented players, a crop that includes a sharp quarterback by the name of Chris Miller and a thrill-a-minute cornerback and return man by the name of Deion Sanders. But the Falcons have been plagued with injuries and poor execution on the field. Now, the Saints, on the other hand, are an upper echelon team that struggled to a 1-4 start, but they've been awfully impressive in their last 2 victories. And while Jim Finks, the team's president and general manager, did not get the commissioner's job this past week, to a player, they're all happy that the architect of this winning program is still here. We're using his Midas touch. And a man who certainly had the Midas touch out on the football field during his heyday as my partner, Ken Stabler and Snake, Jim thinks his ball club has really been flexing its muscles the last 2 weeks.
Well, Bobby Hebert's having just a great season. He's a number 2 rated passer in the NFL behind Joe Montana. You throw in Dalton Hilliard, you get a strong slashing type runner who is an excellent receiver. Defensively, that's where they get their bonus. Their defensive line is really starting to apply the pressure.
Snake, the Falcons indeed are sprinkled with a lot of talent, but if they don't start to win soon, do you think they'll run out of excuses?
Well, the Falcons have 10 number 1 picks on this team, including starting quarterback Chris Miller. But his development has had to come with a lack of a consistent running game and always having to play catch-up football. One of the bright spots on defense, of course, has been Deion Sanders. This team has to play better now, both for themselves and for Coach Marion Campbell.
The Atlanta Falcons have won the coin toss and, of course, have elected to receive. Falcons not very successful on the road recently, losers of 6 straight. We'll get a chance to see on the receiving end of this accurate foot here, Morton Anderson, place kicker for the New Orleans Saints. Opposition starting average on the 19-yard line, so he's been booting them good. But the man who is dangerous, Deion Sanders, leads the NFC in punt returns and in kick returns. Take a look there, 21.2. He can do it. And we're underway here at the Dome, and Anderson boots this one. Sanders out of his own end zone and met at the 14 by Bobby Morse. Chris Miller, third-year quarterback, University of Oregon, will lead the way. Mr. Accurate, 72 straight passes without an interception, gaining confidence game by game. He's got a banged-up offensive line that will be doing the protecting. Ralph Norwood in to replace the injured Mike Ken, the 12-year veteran, and Wayne Radloff in to replace the injured Stan Clayton. Watch the lineup at center with Jamie Dukes and Jim Wilkes. Backs and receivers, John Settle, Jones, Collins, Dixon, Bailey, and Thomas in on obvious passing situations. And Keith Jones takes it up near the first down marker. An 8-yard run by the rookie from Illinois. The defense of the Saints, an impressive one. That front 3 having a whale of a year. Frank Warren, Jim Wilkes, and Jumpy Geathers. The Dome Patrol has returned. They are playing extremely well, led by Ricky Jackson and Pat Swilling, the outside linebackers. Secondary may be picked on. Rookie Robert Massey, Toy Cook, Waymer, Atkins, Milton Mack, and Brett Maxey, the nickel and dime defensive backs. 2nd and 2 for the Falcons. Settle. And it looks that he may have the necessary yardage for the first down. So, Snake, while the Falcons have been passing more in the recent past, that is, in fact, they should be going to the ground game more often today.
Well, it looks that way, you know. I think one of the things to really help Chris Miller in his development and get their team settled down is to get some type of running game established to take some pressure off of him. So far this year, they've had problems with that.
Jones. Broke from behind by Sam Mills. Gain of only a 1. Two-time Pro Bowler Sam Mills really doing a great job with Vaughn Johnson of stuffing the run.
Yeah, that's one of the things that this group of linebackers called the Dome Patrol, tagged that by Ricky Jackson, is they really flow to the ball. You try to bounce outside with this group, they run to the ball very well. I think most success running against them has come when you run straight at them.
Saints defense #1 in the league against the run. And he knows a little bit about defense himself, Marion Campbell, head man of the Falcons. 2nd and 9. Miller completes his first pass of the game to Ron Heller.
Well, you're going to see Heller right there. You're going to see him at the right tight end lined up in a strong right formation. Miller gives a look downfield first. He's going to look at the wide receivers outside, feels the pressure, and then dumps the ball off smartly underneath the tight end.
5-yard pass play from Miller to Heller. It'll be a 3rd and 4 for the Falcons from their own 30. Off the fingertips of Stacey Bailey. Pass was perfectly placed by Miller.
Well, it's hard to tell if maybe he got a finger on it or a hand on it, but it looks like he has to come up with that. That ball was pretty well thrown. Let's take a look and see if we get a tip on it, see if Massey gets a hand on it. No, the ball just ricochets off of his hands. He's got to come up with that one.
The most experienced receiver in the receiving corps for the Falcons. Scott Fulhaig in to do the punting for the Falcons. And Harris, the sure-handed one, back for maybe 3 yards. 4-4 hang time on a 43-yard punt by Fulhaig. It'll be Saints ball when we come back. Here at the Superdome, no score, Saints ball, and one of the reasons Jim Moore has been pleased with his team's play all year is that they've been starting with excellent field position.
It means so much to a quarterback to get that ball out there in good field position. One of the reasons their special teams are playing very well, and of course their defense is causing the turnovers to give them the good plus field position.
And I'm sure as an ex-QB, you love to have a full package of options.
You get it. You get out near the 50-yard line, 40-yard line, it's wide open for you.
Bobby Hebert, #2 rated quarterback in the league. Greg Hayward in motion. Hebert with time, complete to Dalian Hilliard. First down. Offensive line has allowed only 6 sacks this year. Dombrowski, Edelman, Hilgenberg in at center in place of Steve Court for the second game. Trapello, Brock, and Brenner. Backs and receivers, Dalton Hilliard, NFC Player of the Week last week. Hayward, Martin, Hill, Floyd Turner, and Brett Perryman in on obvious passing situations. And Jim Moore thoroughly pleased with the job that his quarterback Bobby Hebert has been doing all season long. 1st and 10. Quick out to Hilliard. 7-yard run by Dalton Hilliard, tackled by Evan Cooper. Falcons defense will have a task before today. Mike Gann, Tony Casillas, and Ben Thomas, the journeyman. Young linebacking core overall, Andre Bruce, John Rady, a veteran, Jesse Tuggle, and Tim Green, perhaps the new leader. Back there at linebacker. Charles Demery in to replace the injured Scott Case. Deion Sanders moves over to right. Moore, Cooper, Butler, and Shelley. 2nd and 1 for the Saints. Ball at the 43 of Atlanta. Hilliard. Looks like he's a little shy.
I think so, JB. You're going to see an awful lot of Dalton Hilliard today. He will do well against this matchup zone that the Atlanta Falcons play. They'll split him out as they did prior to this play. They'll throw the ball to him, they'll screen, dump it off, and then, of course, in their one-back set, as they are in right here, you're going to see him off the corners running like that.
Snake, not a big back, but boy, is he effective.
Not big up top. Very powerful thighs and legs, and runs extremely tough.
No gain on the play, 3rd and short. Hilliard, he's got it, and more. A 14-yard run by Hilliard.
Well, coming off of a great game last week, watch the fullback right in front of him. Watch Hayward. Hayward gets out in front. He's like a pulling guard. He's 255-pound fullback. Watch this block right here on number 22. Knocks him out of there. Dalton Hilliard cuts off of it. Already going good. That guy gives you a lot of options. There's a lot of things you can do with him. Like I said, he will do well in this matchup zone that Atlanta plays. He will run, draw, screen, does a lot of things. Exciting player.
And the Saints call a timeout. Saints on the march. Ball located at the 28 of Atlanta. No score. We'll be back in just a moment. Remaining in the first, no score, but the Saints on the march, and there are more celebrated rivalries around the league: Minnesota, Chicago, Washington, Dallas. But this one is a heated one, and you know as well about that, Snake.
Well, here in the early 80s, and you could feel the rivalry. The geographic location of both teams brings a lot of people. They sell this place out, but you talk to the players, and they say the rivalry has kind of died out some, and it's more of a interdivisional rivalry now.
1st and 10 for the Saints. Hebert up top. Incomplete. Intended receiver was Brett Perryman. And I know he feels he should have had that one.
Well, here's a guy they're going to put the pressure on right down through there with Perryman. They try to make the weak safety. They make him react. He drops straight back. There's where the pressure comes by putting 2 receivers in his area. He makes a nice reaction to get a hand on the ball. Robert Moore, number 34.
2-back set, Hilliard, Hayward. Brett Perryman, boy, he would love to get a catch. More for than just football reasons. Hilliard. Dalton Hilliard running down to the 21-yard line. Good blocking by that line up front. Brett Perryman, I mentioned that he would certainly benefit from a catch more than just for football reasons, has had a really emotional roller coaster.
Well, he's had an awful lot of problems. His mother had a severe stroke and passed away, and of course he has 2 children that he is responsible for. He is trying to play the best football he can. He's had to fight off injuries, a lot of emotional problems for him.
And only 24 years of age. 3rd and 2. Hayward in motion. Now Perryman in motion. Hebert with time. Complete to Hilliard for the first down. And touchdown, New Orleans. Bobby Hebert to Dalton Hilliard for the first score of the ball game. And Morton Anderson, who's back into his usual excellent kicking groove, will attempt the point after. And the Saints lead it 7-0.
Designed this way, but it shows what can happen when you get 2 guys thinking on the same page. There's Hilliard back there, and he is really not the primary receiver, but you see 2 guys thinking together. He moves around back there. Hilliard finds an open spot, waits for the ball. Bobby Hebert, who's been finding him all year, finds him again, and there's the result. Touchdown.
Gordon Anderson gets a low liner. Might have been a little bit of respect for Deion Sanders. And Atlanta will bring it out and operate from its own 20.
You know, because the play wasn't designed that way, you see Bobby Hebert, he says, oh, well, we'll take it anyway. It wasn't designed that way. Look out there, find whoever's open. Heck, I'll take him.
5th time this season that the Saints have scored on the opening drive.
Yeah, those two guys right there can do some damage.
1st and 10 for the Falcons from the 20. Miller back to pass. Incomplete. Barely picked off, nearly picked off by Dave Waymer. Intended receiver that time was Sean Collins, the rookie out of Northern Arizona.
Well, you got to be careful throwing that slant into that tight coverage. There's David Waymer sitting right in the middle of your picture, number 44, their free safety. And as I said, you got to be careful throwing the ball in there, back up in your own territory, especially against the tight coverage that Toy Cook was giving him. Very dangerous.
Batted down by Frank Warren. Warren at 6'4", 280, 9th-year player out of Auburn.
Talked to him yesterday and talked to that young man yesterday, and he hasn't been a starter in 8 years. He understands now that he had a chance to start, so what did he do? He went and worked harder in the offseason, a little bit heavier, a little bit stronger. Saw the light at the end of the tunnel, and he's having a tremendous year.
He was very candid about how he had not worked hard in the offseason prior to that. 3rd and 10 for the Falcons. Swilling, who missed all of training camp, came in great physical shape, is now in football shape and is playing like a man possessed. And Forhay gets a low one away, scooped up by Rod Harris.
Well, here's Swilling. They put him down like in a defensive lineman stance and let him go after the passer, and that's what he does best. Like JP said, he missed a lot of training camp. Now starting to catch up with the system and really playing well on the outside along with Ricky Jackson.
We talked about the Dome Patrol living up to its name now. The last 2 weeks have seen the Saints sack opposing quarterbacks 11 times after only 7 in the first 5 games, and a lot of that is because of Pat Swilling getting in good shape and the return of Ricky Jackson.
No doubt. The inspirational leader of that team has Swilling playing better.
Saints, again, excellent field position. The 46 of the Falcons. Going up for Hayward and overthrows Craig Hayward. And a nice hit applied by Evan Cooper, but you know Cooper feels that one.
You bet. You hit 250 pounds that way. That shows the versatility also of a 250-pound guy like Craig Hayward when they send him down the sidelines trying to get him deep.
Cooper 5'11", 194, but he threw it around nicely. You think Hayward felt it at all?
Another guy who's starting to catch up with things. Came in a little late into training camp, missed some things, got behind, broken bone in his hand, kept him behind. He's starting to get a little healthier now and starting to really contribute.
Tried to make us believe a few weeks ago he really did have a tough off-season program. Came in 30 pounds heavier. Hilliard. Gain of maybe 2.
Well, you know, the defense here, this is the way you have to try to play a New Orleans team, is you have to try to make good first down plays, force them into long yardage type situations where you can bring in your nickel people and really try to get the pressure on Bobby Hebert.
Falcons defense has not had the pass rush that many would expect with some talented linebackers like Andre Bruce, Marcus Cotton, and Tim Green.
Well, you know, maybe they really haven't turned to guys loose like Andre Bruce. Still learning, feeling his way along.
4 wideouts, and on 3rd and 8 for the Saints. Hebert inside the 40 to about the 39-yard line.
Well, as we said, that's the ticket right there, is to get those long yardage situations where you know he has to throw the ball and put the pressure on Bobby Hebert. You let him get in those short yardage situations, the 2nd and 5s, the 3rd and 2s and 3s, and they're trouble.
Tommy Barnhart on to punt for the Saints. He'll be punting to the most dangerous punt returner right now in the NFL, in Deion Sanders. And Sanders has to signal for the fair catch. A 28-yard punt, more importantly, decent hang time that prevented Deion Sanders from being the threat that he is. Marion Campbell, in his 2nd tour of duty with the Atlanta Falcons, hoping to turn things around, has yet to be successful wherever he's been.
Got some good young players at the skill positions. Chris Miller developing. You get Sean Collins, an exciting receiver, and John Settle in the backfield. They've got some good young talent, but they're a ways away yet.
From their own 11, this is Keith Jones. Flags on a play as Jones was slowed up in the backfield by Robert Massey. Gordon McCarter signals against the Falcons.
Holding, tight end offense. Penalty decline, 2nd down.
I'd like to tell you that this telecast is presented by the authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast is without the expressed written consent of the New Orleans Saints. And the National Football League is prohibited.
Sounds authoritative to me.
That's that.
Incomplete. Route run, that time by Floyd Dixon, in and out of his hands.
Well, you can't throw it any better than this. He puts the ball right on the money, and it all starts with pass protection. He gets the motion going across to try to get a pre-read on the defense. He's got his man-to-man out here, Floyd Dixon on Toy Cook. Throws it right on the numbers. We got to have that catch.
And one of the knocks against Dixon, coaching staff, Marion Campbell, says he needs to see the ball into his hands more. Evident that play. 6 defensive backs in for the Saints. Milton Mack and Brent Maxey. For a play. Goes nowhere. Flag on a play. Vaughn Johnson might have been the man. Got back there a little too quickly.
Number 56 defense lined up in the neutral zone. 5 yards, still 3rd down.
Pat Swilling a little too anxious to get back there.
Pat Swilling trying to get as much of a jump as he can right there. They move him around, put him on different people to try to get the pass rush matchup that they want.
3rd and 5. Falcons from their own 16. And Miller had the pass tipped from behind. Looked like Ricky Jackson got a hand on that.
Well, they bring them from everywhere. You get Ricky Jackson coming after you, Pat Swilling coming after you, and where they're making their mistake is they're getting in these long yardage situations, and it allows guys like a Ricky Jackson coming from the right-hand part of your screen. There comes Pat Swilling, 56, from the left part. Those guys get around you, you're in trouble. Just got to stay out of long yardage.
Ricky Jackson leads by example and with the mouth. Scott Fulhay into punt for Atlanta. Rod Harris back deep for the Saints. And gets a Butte away as he pushes Harris over to the sidelines. A 43-yard punt by Scott Fulhay. Saints will have it when we return. Long-time rivalry between these two clubs, a game that was sold out 6 weeks ago here at the New Orleans Superdome. James Brown along with Ken Stabler. Saints on top 7-0.
Well,
the man who was bypassed for commissioner this week, right in the middle there, Jim Fink's a classy individual.
Well, I think, would have made a terrific commissioner, but you talk about the people around this franchise, the coaching staff, the players, everybody connected. I think they're really happy that he's going to stay with this franchise. One of the main reasons that they are excited again.
On first down, this is Dalton Hilliard looking for some room. Well, Jim Fink's obviously very close with the new commissioner, Paul Tagliabue, had nothing but praise for him. And again, I think that's in keeping with the kind of professional that Jim Finks is.
Yes, Tagliabue was an excellent choice, and that man is just a very classy individual, very involved around the New Orleans area, and they are extremely happy that he is staying with this ball club. He has brought in players that are playing an exciting brand of football and has his New Orleans people having a lot of fun.
And as we heard from Paul Tagliabue on the NFL Today show, a real extensive agenda, but I was really amazed at his refreshing candor. On 2nd and 8, Hebert intercepted. Charles Dimry. And Dimry takes it back to the Saints' 26-yard line, wrapped up by Dalton Hilliard. So Dimry, starting in place of the injured Scott Case, comes up with an interception.
Well, Bobby Hebert hasn't done that very often this year, but what happens is watch him wait just a little bit too long. He's going to step up in the pocket right here, takes a little bit too long, the ball hangs, and then Dimry makes his break in front of Eric Martin. He picks up Jesse Tuggle as a lead blocker in front of him, gives him a big play and maybe some momentum. And then, of course, once you throw that interception, you got to get on defense. You got to be able to tackle people. Bobby Hebert making a run at him.
Complete. Collins. And Sean Collins, the rookie out of Northern Arizona, showing his youthful exuberance, a very confident young man.
You bet. We talked to him yesterday, and he did have an awful lot of confidence. This is just going to be a short, quick out to the right. Guy's playing off and playing loose. He takes it, and then here he breaks the tackle. This guy's about 6'2", about 205, 210 pounds, extremely tough.
Leading all NFL rookies in receiving. That was his 28th catch. First down. First and goal. Ball on the 5. Going for Collins. Overthrown. Robert Massey, rookie out of North Carolina Central, on the coverage. You know, we asked Collins, and I guess his response was much like any rookie. We asked him what was the difference playing at this level from college.
Well, it's the same thing that almost every young player says when he comes in, whether he be a lineman or receiver, back, whatever, that the game is much faster than they expected. Everybody is a tremendous athlete. Defensive backs are faster. The game in general is faster to them.
I like his confidence. Swilling. We'll await the signal to see if the ball was still alive as Pat Swilling got back. And the Saints have the ball. Sam Mills recovered the ball that was knocked loose by Pat Swilling, the Dome Patrol.
Well, watch this Dome Patrol group come after him. It's the down linemen. They're getting a lot of pressure from those guys. That great pass rush from the outside. There's Swilling knocking the ball loose. Frank Warren around the ball all the time. This group is really playing well on defense, applying a tremendous amount of pressure to the quarterback.
Pat Swilling worked hard in the offseason with a number of players in Atlanta to stay in shape while he was holding out. And Sam Mills, the quiet one, but leads by example. 2 Pro Bowls.
That Dome Patrol is a good set of linebackers. They do a lot of different things with them. They've got those inside guys that drop into the zone areas when they want to apply pressure. They bring that guy right there, Pat Swilling, and of course Ricky Jackson.
Well, while Pat Swilling is celebrating on the sidelines, that play is being reviewed up in the booth. Chuck Eberling, the replay official on site here. I talked about the off-season conditioning program that Pat Swilling was involved in. A number of NFL players are really getting into a track regimen, Snake. A lot of sprint work and distance work.
Yeah, and the game has become such a year-round situation that you can't afford not to.
First and 10.
Play stands. And the communicator, Jerry Wynn, on site today as well. Hilliard. Dalton Hilliard, 9-yard run. Snake, we talked about those powerful thighs. He says he's never lifted weights a day in his life.
Just a naturally strong lower body. We talked to Tim Green, the linebacker for the Atlanta Falcons, and he said what you have to do against this guy is stay home because of the cutback. Now watch this. He gets up in the hole, and there's the cutback right there, cutting off the blockers. You have to stay at home, and you really got to wrap that guy up.
Uncanny ability to maintain his balance. Hilliard and Hayward, the backs. This is Hayward. He's got the first down.
On the defensive side of the ball, JB, I think this Atlanta Falcon team, they've got to stop the run. Of course, that's the situation in almost every case. Is the first thing you have to do is stop the run. But this New Orleans team is much better when they are able to run the ball.
Atlanta comes into the game ranked only 24th in the league against the run. Work cut out for them today.
You bet.
First and 10 for the Saints. 1:03 remaining in the first quarter. Saints on top by the score of 7-0. Hayward to the top of your screen. Hilliard across the 35 to about the 36-yard line. Called it a 5-yard gain by Dalton Hilliard. Stopped by Tony Casillas. And Casillas has been having a good season. He really just needs some help along that defensive line.
No doubt about it. He's leading their team in tackles, one of the better nose guards in the league. But that is a good first down play by the Saints. There you see Casillas holding up the middle of that line. They really haven't had the pass pressure that they would like out of this team. And as you said, maybe some help on the outside would also help him a lot.
2nd and 5 as the clock winds down toward the end of the first quarter. Hayward in motion. And the flag on the play, probably a motion penalty against the Saints with 2 seconds remaining.
False start, 72, offense.
And that's Jim Dombrowski.
Well, you get a good first down play. They get 5 yards on first down.
72, 5 yards, still second down.
Create a short yardage on second down, then they get the penalty. That's the thing you have to avoid, is getting in the long yardage situations where you know you have to throw the ball, and as a result, they get the pressure.
All right, so the Saints will get a chance to come up with some play they think may work in long yardage situations. That's the end of the first quarter. Saints on top by a touchdown. New Orleans Saints on top 7-0 as you take a look at the skyline of the Big Easy, New Orleans, Louisiana. Good hospitality here.
I hear the nightlife is pretty good. I mean, that's secondhand information, but I hear there's some fun out there.
Well, all right, and folks who will be attending Super Bowl 24 will be here as well. You see, this has been the host dome for 6 previous Super Bowls. 2nd and 10 for the Saints, operating from their own 31. Hilliard. And Dalton Hilliard getting some good blocking on the right side of that line. Trapillo, Stan Brock. And we talked about Super Bowl 24 being hosted here at the Dome, and this will be the host location for the NFL Today crew. Behind that glass, straight ahead there. Comfy location. They'll be bringing you all the sounds, sights, actions of Super Bowl 24. Brent Irv, Dick Buckus, and Scoop McDonough. That'll be January 28th. Ought to be good.
It'll be a fun one.
4 wideouts in for the Saints. Perryman and Floyd Turner, the addition of 2 wide receivers. Hebert complete to Turner. And Turner comes up with the first down. A big catch by the rookie out of northwestern Louisiana.
At that time, they clear out with those outside guys. Bobby gives a first look downfield, the deep thing, and then they come underneath with Turner. I think there, the thing you have to like is the extra effort there at the end of the play to get the first down.
Again, some impressive rookies in today's game. Floyd Turner, 3rd amongst rookies in the NFL with 14 catches. That was number 15. Jim Moore really said he did maintain a level head during that 4-game slide, and that was reinforced by the players.
I think that's awfully important, too. The coach sets the tone.
And Bobby Hebert saw something he didn't like as he signals for a timeout.
And it's hard to say what. You never know, you know. Formation, personnel, we'll see.
Untracked, only 4 total yards thus far in the contest. New Orleans looking impressive with 107. Bobby Hebert continuing to show why he is a 2nd-ranked quarterback in the NFL, and he's getting an awful lot of help from Dalton Hilliard. Snake, we talked at the top about the continuing frustrations of Atlanta with a lot of young talent on the field. Couldn't capitalize on that 43-yard interception return by Charles Demery.
You got to be able to get the ball in when you get down there. Another thing they have to do, JB, is they've got to stay out of those extremely long yardage situations where the Saints bring the Ricky Jacksons and the Pat Swilling, lay their ears back and come after you.
You know, Atlanta has a history of playing very conservative style defense. The philosophy of Marion Campbell, perhaps they should be just turned loose to play reckless.
I think some of their players indicated that. Turn a guy like Andre Bruce loose. Turn Tim Green loose and let those guys go after him.
Meanwhile, 1st and 10 for the Saints from their own 42. Hilliard. And the play strung out nicely. Tim Green in on the tackle and play that time and firing him up as he's trying to do now to become the leader.
Tim Green, number 99, stringing this play out. Now, there's a guy that could eventually become the emotional leader of this team. Extremely intelligent, smart young man, emotional player. And you take a group of young defensive players, you need that guy, the Ricky Jackson type that can talk things up.
Kind of contrary to the academician he appears to be, very bright type. He says, hey, I want to be fiery on the field. No gain on the play. 2nd and 10. Hebert with time, complete to Hilliard. He's got the first down. Deion Sanders knocks him out of bounds.
Dalton Hilliard's going to cross right across the middle of your screen right there. Bobby Hebert looking downfield, but finds him right there. Now watch John Tice right there, 82. Watch him peel back on Robert Moore, springing for another 25 or 30 yards. Number 21 gets loose with it, you're in trouble.
Fastest man on the field, perhaps Deion Sanders has to come from across the field to stop this man, Dalton Hilliard. Ball at the 29 of Atlanta. Flag on the play. Complete to Hilliard. And Tim Green perhaps reacting a little too quickly that time. Not sure whether that was Green or Bruce that came across. Gordon McCarter doing some house cleaning here.
Offside, 99 defense. Penalty accepted, 5 yards, still first down.
And that's Tim Green, the man who says I have to have some structure in my life.
Me too.
That's why he's in law school in the off season. Worked as an intern and on-air sportscaster up in Syracuse. Reads 5 books a summer. That sounds like us.
That's us.
Hilliard on first down, but the play is stopped. Flag on the left side of the field, bottom of your screen.
Ball start, right guard.
Steve Trapillo. Perhaps the referees are trying to protect the players. They don't call their numbers anymore the last 2 weeks anyway. we were talking about Tim Green and his love of reading. Take a look at his playbook, Snake.
Tom Jones, Henry Fielding. Yeah, there's a book out called Snake that he might want to add into that. Interesting reading.
That's an impressive list there, but he did say that he would read Snake before going to law school this summer.
Always helps in law school.
Talk about getting a bead on reality. 1st and 10. Hebert to Hilliard. Flag on a play. Tell you, talk about being alert. The pass was actually thrown right at the head of Hobie Brenner, but somehow he knew the pass wasn't intended for him because he ducked.
Yeah, it was a screen. The timing of the screen was destroyed, and here's our call.
Against the Saints.
Illegal block in the back, number 63, offense. 10 yards, still first down.
Brad Edelman, who's suffering with some lower back problems.
Well, the timing of the play was not very good, you know. They put a lot of pressure on Hebert. He wasn't quite ready to throw the ball by the time they got there. The linemen have to get out in front. That was not set up very well. Not a very good-looking play.
Coming off of last week's poor performance against Phoenix, one thing Marion Campbell wants to see in his entire team, but certainly his defense, is a lot more emotion out there, a lot more enthusiasm.
More enthusiasm. Get after them. It's a good group of players, young players, and you got to get them fired up.
And yet another flag to kill the play. This looked like maybe the 10-year veteran Stan Brock from Colorado. 3 consecutive penalties.
67 offense.
And that was Stan Brock. Now, Snake, is that just getting out of sync mentally here?
I think so, you know, just a lack of concentration. Everybody knows what the snap count is on, but sometimes a guy like Stan right there will get down there and he starts to think about, what's my assignment? Who do I block? What adjustments do I make? And you forget the snap count. Simple as that.
I'm sure Jim Moore knows as well as any that the game is a game of momentum and emotional swings, and you certainly don't want to do anything to defuse what they've had going.
Exactly. Jim Finks has really given him some great players to work with.
1st and 25. Hebert complete to Hilliard. Wrapped up quickly by Jesse Tuggle. Only 3 yards gained on the play.
Well, what's happening is Dalton Hilliard is becoming their safety valve type receiver. Bobby Hebert is given the first look downfield almost every time, has nothing because of that zone defense, comes back underneath to Dalton Hilliard.
And Jesse Tuggle, who made the tackle, was a free agent who was discovered actually at a dinner. His coach had a chance to talk with one of the Falcons coaching staff and say, hey, you really ought to take a look at this guy. They took a look at him, and he's lasted. 3rd-year play out of Valdosta State. 4 wideouts in on 2nd and 22. Hayward. And Craig Hayward bulls his way up to the 30. He's still going to be far shy of the necessary yardage for the first down, an 11-yard run by the head.
JB, look at this. How about this? How about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 defensive backs and 4 defensive linemen? You think they're anticipating pass? They cross them up with a little draw that works pretty well.
We asked Marion Campbell, what does he call that? He talked about George Allen.
You want to know what do you call that package where you bring in all those people? He said George Allen used up all the glamorous names for that. He just calls it my nickel package.
With 7 DBs. 4 wideouts in on 3rd and 12. Hebert complete for the first down to Floyd Turner. So Bobby Hebert overcomes the 3 consecutive penalties.
Again, JB, it's that 7 defensive back look. The guy they take is that one-on-one coverage on the outside out there. Guys playing off 5-6 yards, playing soft. Just take that. Bobby Hebert reads it real well, throws the ball on the money, and they've got something there in business.
And Floyd Turner caught that one on the 9th-year veteran, Bobby Butler. Hilliard. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Jesse Tuggle leading the way along with Tim Green and stuffing out the run.
Counter tray action, as Washington made famous with Riggins, and everybody has it in their playbook. You pull the guards and try to lead up through the hole with the back behind them.
Loss of 2 on the play, 8:26 remaining in the first half. Saints on top, 7-0. Next Saturday, CBS Sports presents 2 unbeaten teams in exciting college football. Take a look at the score from yesterday. Notre Dame walloped Pittsburgh. Florida loses, make that Miami loses for the first time. Colorado and Nebraska continue to roll, setting up a big matchup next week. Nebraska and Colorado, right here on CBS. Hilliard. Diving down near the 16, a gain of 3. Will bring up a 3rd and 9 play. Mike Gann, the 5th-year left end out of Notre Dame, helped to smother that play.
Well, they've gotten themselves into a long yardage situation here now, and they'll bring in their group of wide receivers, their package that they will get against all of those defensive backs for the Falcons.
That's a good way of describing it.
All of those defensive backs. They got more 20 numbers than
13A. Incomplete. So Morton Anderson will have to come on and see if he can put a few points on the board. Morton Anderson had a little bit of difficulty doing one stretch, but he talked about that.
Yeah, a couple of games ago, Morton, he missed a couple of field goals that people thought that he should have made. And in defense of Morton, he was going through a set of holders. He went through 3 different holders during that stretch, and I think that hurt him some. That guy right there is the best in the league, in my opinion.
This will be a 32-yard field goal attempt by Morton Anderson. John Forcade, the holder. It's up, and it's good. So 7 for 7 after missing 3 field goals earlier this year, and the Saints are on top by 10. Remaining in the first half, and the Falcons find themselves down by 10. There's the reason why. Only 4 yards total offense. New Orleans having a field day, and again, the Falcons falling back into that pattern, Snake.
Same old story for the Falcons, not able to get any kind of running game going, falling behind early and having to play catch-up, and against the New Orleans Saints defensive pressure, that's trouble.
Morton Anderson taken inside the 5 and across the 20. Greg Patera, rookie out of Slippery Rock. Well, no question that Atlanta has potential, Snake, but it doesn't appear to have paid off, at least not yet.
Not yet. They've gotten a lot of starters. You see the number of starters they've got that out of their #1 picks, but as you say, hasn't paid off yet. It's going to take some time. It's an extremely young team, especially at the skill positions, receiver, running back, quarterback. It'll take them some time.
And some frustration expressed by a couple of starters. John Settle was questioning some of the play calling when they were in the red zone, 20 yards in, and Chris Miller saying, hey, I can't audibilize. We'll talk more about that. First down. Play action. Miller throwing for Ron Heller. Snake, why is it important for a quarterback to have the capability to audibilize?
Well, you have to have the ability when you come up to the line of scrimmage and you see things out there through game plan and through study and things like that, and you like to be able to take advantage of them. I really don't think that Chris Miller right now has those tools in front of him. They've narrowed things down so much for him because he's young and he is developing, but he wants more. He wants more responsibility.
He says it's a touchy subject and he wants to stay away from it, but Jim Hannaford says he's not quite there yet. He'll have that capability shortly. Miller throws it away under the heat of jumping gathers, and Ricky Jackson, there is a flag on a play. Maybe intentional grounding. Dave Waymer talking with Carter.
Ineligible downfield, number 55 offense. Penalty declined, 3rd down.
Well, there's Rod Dowhauer, offensive coordinator, and head coach Marion Campbell, and they've really cut things down an awful lot for Chris Miller. They give him only the leeway to have some check-with-me type things, and he really doesn't have all the tools that a quarterback has to have.
On 3rd and 10. 3 wideouts then for the Falcons. Ball intended for John Settle. Ralph Norwood, the rookie out of LSU, seemed to have gotten in the way on that play and knocked his man down. Buffalo leading Miami 14-3, but the note there, Dan Marino, for the first time in 19 games, has been sacked.
He'll have to wash his uniform this week.
Scott Fulhage in to punt for the Falcons. Rod Harris back for New Orleans. And Fulhage with not a very good punt. Only 38 yards. Saints will take over with 6:30 when we come back. 69,000 strong here at the Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. James Brown along with Ken Stabler, and it's been all New Orleans moving the ball up and down the field. But 8,000 fans strong from Atlanta, still remembering the bad blood between these two organizations. And Snake, you played in a lot of those bad blood games.
Now, there has been some. I think it all started maybe 1973 when the Saints spanked them real good, 62-7, something like that. Got it kindled.
Players may have forgotten, but the fans haven't. Hilliard trying to jitterbug his way straight ahead. Gain of 3 on the play.
You know, one thing I think that shows that the Saints are going to try to run the ball more because, of course, the Falcons have had trouble stopping the run, but it's their first down calls. They're not throwing the ball as much on first down as they have in the past, which shows that we're going to try to get something established on the ground early.
Snake, may be a perception, but Jim Morris seems to have opened up the offense just a tad bit more for Hebert.
I think he's given him a lot of tools to work with, a lot of options to use, a lot of different ways to use Hilliard.
2nd and 7. Hebert complete to Paul Frazier.
The one thing that keeps Bobby Hebert out of trouble, keeps their offense out of trouble, is they always have someone to dump the ball off to, as they did there to Paul Frazier. He's going to give it to Look. Bobby Hebert is going to give it to Look downfield and then dump the ball off when things start to happen.
See, he's got his teeth in, Snake.
I think those are the temporaries. He got 3 teeth knocked out against the Tampa Bay game that we covered, and I think that's real smart to keep those temporaries in until maybe the season's over.
A gain of only 1 on the play brings up a 3rd and 6 situation. Hebert out of the shotgun. Ball is tipped. And Craig Hayward showed good reaction but couldn't get to it. So 3 and out for the Saints.
Trying to run everybody off with the wide guys. You see right here in the middle of your screen, number 34. They're trying to get the ball to Craig Hayward. Steps up in the pocket. Number 67 gets a hand on that. It looks like that's going to be Malcolm Taylor, number 67, getting the pressure.
Prime time.
Showtime.
Deion Sanders. Barnhart. Flags on the play with the 4-2 hang time, and Deion Sanders still made it look exciting, but flags were everywhere.
I think he builds adrenaline every time he touches the ball. He's extremely dangerous.
41-yard punt, 8-yard return when there didn't look to be much daylight for him. And this will go against Atlanta. Let's take a look at Marcus Cotton and Deion Sanders.
Illegal block in the back, number 37 receiving team during the return.
That's
half the distance penalty, 1st and 10.
Albert Shelley. So Atlanta will be starting with not great field position against State.
Well, you have to be extremely careful back in here. Got a 10-0 behind, and you don't want the walls to come caving down with a turnover here backed up. You just have to be very, very conservative. And they show that by coming out with 2 tight ends.
Atlanta tried to keep it on the ground. No gain on the play. As Gene Lang from LSU.
I tell you, you run away from Pat Swilling. You see Pat Swilling right there. You run away from him. A lot of times you won't block a guy that you're running away from because they'll outrun the play. Not Pat Swilling. He's got such great speed that even on plays away, you better get somebody on him. He'll run it down from the backside as he gets in.
John Settle gets it across the 10, a 4-yard run by John Settle. And the 3rd-year player from Appalachian State showed so well his first couple of years that the Falcons were able to send Gerald Riggs up north to Washington, and in return got a 2nd-round pick in this year's draft. They got Ralph Norwood with it, and the Redskins' #1 draft pick next year. 3rd and 6. From the 11. Settle. Nowhere near the first down.
Yeah,
Frank Warren.
Yes, very conservative, as we said. Even on 3rd down, backed up like that, their pass protection has not been very good. They've had a hard time containing Ricky Jackson and Pat Swilling. As a result, they elect to go with a very conservative draw.
Now, ownership of the Falcons have said that Marion Campbell had not been given enough time in previous tours of duty, both with Atlanta and with Philadelphia, to develop a winning squad, and we'll see what happens here. Scott Fulhage punting. Rod Harris back for New Orleans. .43 hang time. A flag on a play as Rod Harris returns it to the 35. A 43-yard punt, 22-yard return will await the call from the officials. And the one thing that Jim Morris said he liked about Rod Harris is that he's got flypaper for hands.
Well, here you can see how the lane develops. Here we are right behind Rod Jones. Now watch him find that seam. There it is right there. Cuts behind, picks up a nice gain. Good return, good field position.
And it looks like Rod Harris is still on the ground for the Saints.
There you see our old buddy Dean Kleinsmith taking care of Harris. Kevin Mangum, assistant trainer.
And boy, Jim Mora would hate to see that because, again, he got rid of Derek Shepard. Shepard, who was an exciting punt returner, picked up when Washington let him go.
Punt return guy is usually a backup wide receiver. Sometimes a running back, but usually a backup wide receiver who has the good hands and has the breakaway ability.
And certainly is good to see him get up under his own power, although they won't let him run off the field.
Well, he's looked like got his bill wrong. He's a little woozy.
And don't forget, coming up next week here on CBS Sports, next Saturday, Nebraska versus Colorado. Your thoughts?
Oh, a tremendous game. Two tough Big 8 teams. Colorado just coming out of nowhere. They've got a little quarterback. Hagan, their quarterback. Bieniemy, good running back. And Nebraska always a very well-coached team.
Boy, and Colorado got a victory over Oklahoma, and those have been few and far between for Colorado. Matter of fact, we can quantify that and say the first victory in 33 years. And your old friend, Stan Brock.
Stan Brock, yes, Stan Brock. There he is right there, number 67, offensive right tackle for the Saints, and he's the Colorado Buffalo. Big as a Colorado Buffalo, too.
He can hit.
Great guy.
2:30 remaining in the first half. Saints leading it 10-0. Atlanta not able to do anything on the ground or in the air against the Saints. Frazier trying to pick his way. Not much room to tiptoe through.
Again, the first down run, as we pointed out earlier, trying to establish that running game against a team that's had problems stopping the run.
Tiptoed his way for 2 yards.
I think Paul Frazier fits well in this system. He's the Dalton Hilliard type back that can take a little bit of the pressure off of Hilliard to rest him, to spell him when he needs.
Matter of fact, Coach Morris said that Paul Frazier has been playing very, very well. It's just that he's playing behind Dalton Hilliard. And the Saints will allow the clock to go down to the 2-minute mark, leading it by 10. 2 minutes left in the first half, and many of you may have seen earlier this week, Monday, in the USA Today, a cartoon. We've been meeting for months to choose a new commissioner, and all we've done is eliminate Brian Bosworth and Ken Stabler. That's why it took so long to elect a commissioner. They got rid of the 2 best guys.
Well, the Boz and the Snake will be meeting this week to figure out what our next move will be. We will surface again. We'll be back.
Might you consider a deputy commissionership? Now, I know Paul Tagliabue has really been, kind of sizing up how he's going to go in there and take control.
Well, I think so. There's what the meeting really stood for. There's 2 roast beefs, 1 chicken, 1 ham, gentlemen. Sounds very familiar. That's what takes place. That's why it takes so long to come up with a commissioner.
Get a good look at your deputy commissioner, folks. Ken Stabler. Right now, the Saints trying to do something with 2 minutes left. And Hebert complete. The tight end, Greg Scales. 4-yard pass play. Charles Demery, as we mentioned, started in place of Scott Case, came up with his first career interception, a 43-yard return. Unfortunately, the Falcons couldn't do anything to capitalize on it.
This is the area where the Saints have been extremely successful, is when they create those 3rd, 4s, 3rd and 5s with all those weapons to dump the ball off. Look for Hilliard in this particular situation. Or whoever the single back might be, Paul Frazier.
3rd and 4. Hebert loses the ball. Ben Thomas picks it up. Tackled by Jim Dombrowski. Give the credit to Marcus Cotton, 2nd-year player out of USC, for knocking the ball loose.
Marcus Cotton, that's what he does best. They bring him in on the 3rd down situations to apply the pressure. Very good pass rusher. Here you're going to see number 51 coming from the right side of your screen. Bobby steps up looking for something. There's where he knocks the ball loose. Good pressure by their outside people. And then Thomas making the recovery, got him in good shape.
So take a look at Marcus Cotton. Had arthroscopic surgery earlier, and certainly that's slowed his development, but Tim Green certainly has been doing a good job in his stead, and Cotton trying to play good and well enough to get back into the action full time. Don't forget, coming up in just a few moments, the NFL Today back in New York. Brent and Irv will have all the scores and highlights.
And Dick Butkus takes a look at the grounded Jets. And it doesn't look any better for them. They're playing the 49ers, who have some Jets of their own. Jerry Rice, Roger Craig, and those guys are in deep trouble.
Atlanta with an opportunity with 1:04 remaining in the first half. The hands of Keith Jones. And Snake, I know again we're playing armchair quarterback up here, but it looked to be catchable.
Well, you know, and Keith Jones, he comes out of systems where they've thrown the ball an awful lot. He played for Makovic, and of course he played for Mike White at Illinois, and those are pro-type set offenses. But first rule is you've got to catch the football. Here he looks at his blocking assignment. The guy does not come, then he releases that right there. But first rule, catch the ball.
Might have heard the footsteps of Ricky Jackson.
They've got to take advantage of these situations when they get down in the plus territory. They've got to come away with points.
Incomplete, thrown in the direction of Sean Collins. The young man we were talking about, Keith Jones, Coach Moore of the Saints really likes this young man.
Fits well in this offense. They move him around an awful lot and throw the ball to him. You see where he ranks with other rookies around the league, and he's playing with a team that can really use his abilities because they're always throwing the ball.
Falcons 0 for 5 on third down with 54 seconds remaining in the first half. You saw it. Pat Swilling knocked the ball loose. Frank Warren recovered.
Well, they didn't take advantage of their field position. They got themselves in long yardage, and long yardage against this team is just trouble. Get Pat Swilling is all over the ball, knocks it loose. Frank Warren recovers, and I'm telling you, you hate to keep saying it over and over and over, but long yardage against this team is tough. Emotional group of players. Pat Swilling getting that group fired up. Ricky Jackson, Warren, they're a tough group.
And talking with Steve Sidwell of the Saints, their defensive coordinator said, you know what, we don't really blitz, but they don't need a blitz with the dome patrol playing like that.
They really haven't had to do a lot of all-out blitzing because they're getting the pressure from their down people also. Defensive line.
Hayward.
Nice play selection. They spread things out like it's a passing formation. Hit the draw up in there.
And Dalton Hilliard is out with a bruised knee. He will be back, though. Complete to Hill. And enough for the first down. And New Orleans burns off their last time out of the first half with 21 seconds remaining. There in the suit and glasses, watching his Saints, who have a 10-0 lead. And to a player, Snake, they all said they were happy that at least he's still going to be with the organization because he has the Midas touch. At least most all the players.
Well, you talked to David Waymer, their free safety, and he said he would know if he was happy that he was going to be back maybe after contract time. I think David's contract's getting close, and he'll see. That guy right there has really done a wonderful job with this team of getting the Swillings to come in here and getting the Hilliards and Bobby Hebert and people like that, and they're playing good.
And Toy Cook, one of the receivers for the Saints on 1st and 10. And Hebert very upset.
30-second clock got him, I think, JB.
Offense, 5 yards, still first down.
Reason enough to get upset.
Yep.
With very little time remaining.
Well, 20 seconds left. You get a 15, 20-yard gain out of a passing play, and Morton Anderson has a lot of range in his legs, so maybe you're looking at maybe a field goal opportunity.
And keep in mind that Morton Anderson longest ever field goal was 63 yards when he was in college, 55 in the pros. So the strategy here, obviously, to get it somewhere in that range.
Somewhere within Morton Anderson's range and get out of bounds. If you can't score with the football, the receivers are told, the backs are told, listen, if you get within field goal range, get out of bounds to stop the clock.
And Gordon McCarter staying on top of things, adding a second on the clock.
Every little second helps.
And I'm sure the Saints are saying, very sharp crew out here. Complete to Hill.
They've got to hustle. They've got to hustle. They've used all their timeouts. 12 seconds. They've got to hustle.
Complete to
Get
Hill
out of
again. And couldn't quite work it to get Hill out of bounds. They got the yardage, and that man right there was anxious.
Well, they take a shot at that, and I think Bobby may have makes a mistake by throwing it to the guy in the slot because he's just got too far to go to get out of bounds with 10 seconds left. Takes away an opportunity to maybe put some points on the board.
And the man he's talking with there, Carl Smith, the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach.
Yeah, we talked to him yesterday. They're very secretive about what they try to do, so he's got them going now.
And that's the end of the first half with the score, New Orleans 10, Atlanta nothing. Scoreboard of his counterpart, Chris Miller.
Well, Bobby Hebert's been doing it all year long. He's a very high percentage passer, number 2 rated passer in the NFL behind Joe Montana. And, of course, Chris Miller, he's had people all around him all day long, hanging off of both sides. Ricky Jackson, Pat Swilling. They've got to protect him a lot better this half, JB.
We talked about Bobby Hebert being the number 2 rated quarterback in the NFL, and he's ahead of some pretty impressive names.
Well, there's an awful lot of good quarterbacks out there, and he's established himself as one of the best.
McFadden's first kickoff of the day. Gene Atkins from the 5. And flags fly everywhere as Atkins flies up the field to about the 33-yard line. But we'll await the calls from the lead referee. And this will go against the New Orleans Saints.
Holding number 83, receiving team during the return. 10 yards from the spot of the foul, 1st and 10.
And that's Greg Scales. Snake, again, it looked to me to not be a very enthusiastic Atlanta bunch in the first half.
No, you get a team that's 2-5, and they're all trying to grow together, and it's really hard to get emotionally involved and get excited when your season is going the way that theirs has, and hopefully they'll get things turned around.
Saints, 1st and 10 from their own 16. Hilliard. Well, by now it's well understood that the selection of a successor to Pete Rozelle as NFL commissioner was indeed a painstaking one. Took 11 total ballots before finally Paul Tagliabue came out in the process. Abraham Lincoln, it took 3.
My rookie year.
James Garfield, 36. Woodrow Wilson, 46. But hey, the all-time number, take a look at this one. Franklin Pierce, 49, but the all-time number, 103 ballots it took for Democrat John Davis to be selected back in 1924. And Hebert finds Hayward for a 3-yard gain on the pass play.
Atlanta's zone defense is dropping off in the zones, making the New Orleans Saints be very patient on offense, forcing them to take the dump-offs to Craig Hayward, as you see right there.
We'll bring up a 3rd and 4. Four wideouts in, 6 DBs. for the Falcons. And somehow Hebert got that one off, and he literally had people hanging on him.
Well, the reason Cotton's getting in there, watch number 51 at the bottom of your screen. Watch his speed. Watch his speed against Dombrowski. He's out-quicking him. He's taking an outside rush, and then his speed, he just runs right by him and gets a hand on Bobby Hebert. Dombrowski's got to sit back and get out a little faster.
Tommy Barnhart in to punt for the Saints. Not a particularly strong leg, according to Mora. And Mora says he's very confident with him back there because he's been in tough situations before. And you get some idea of what Mora was talking about. Again, not a very strong leg. Sanders picks it up. Only 3-1 hang time on that one. Brett Maxey stops Deion Sanders. A 32-yard punt and 8-yard return by Neon Deion. Coming up next here on CBS Sports, doubleheader day, Philadelphia against Denver. And Denver has really been playing some super defense.
New defensive coordinator in there now, Wade Phillips. Worked with Wade when I was here with the New Orleans Saints, and he really has that Denver group playing well.
Falcons with ideal field position at midfield. First down and 10. Settle. Gain of 1.5 yards, maybe.
These are situations they're going to have to take advantage of, JB. Like we said at the break, at the half, that they didn't capitalize after the interception, didn't capitalize after the fumble. They get good field position right here. They've got to take advantage.
And Settle slightly behind last year's productivity.
I think that's because this team is always playing catch-up, and they just haven't had the opportunity to run the ball.
Wilkins and Heller, the two tight ends, in on 2nd and 9. Play action, complete to Settle. And Settle is run out of bounds, shy of the first down marker by about 4 yards. Sam Mills runs him out of bounds.
Well, you're going to see Settle is going to come right out here in the flat after a play fake. You're going to see the left guard. Watch the left guard is also going to pull out. Here he comes. Comes out, picks up Ricky Jackson. There's a little pass into the flat to Settle. A little more of that might help situation.
Milton Mack and Brett Maxey in. Dime defensive package for the Saints on 3rd down for the Falcons. Complete to Settle for the first down.
Well, a matchup you like is when you can get Settle, number 44 coming out, but you can get him on a linebacker. They get him on Vaughn Johnson, number 53. That's the mismatch that you're looking for. Now they've got something going. Super job of blocking and protecting also provided by Houston Hoover, number 69, second-year player from Jackson State. He's got about 25 relatives here from Yazoo City, Mississippi watching. Two tight end formation again. Settle. Check that, make that Keith Jones, who was running as powerfully as John Settle. And again, Houston Hoover and Ron Heller doing a great job of blocking. Well, right here, one of the adjustments they've made at the half is to come out with two tight ends. It secures those corners and keeps guys like Ricky Jackson and guys like Pat Swilling from getting that pressure. But you've got to get the blocking up front from your big guys as they're doing from Hoover. And that replay showed Hoover and Gary Wilkins doing an excellent job on the right side of that line. 2nd and 3. Settle. Grabbed from behind by Frank Warren. Just underway here in the 3rd quarter. 11:25 remaining. Saints on top 10-0. That's one thing that Frank Warren is doing better this year than he has in the past and has established himself as a starter. Frank used to always have the reputation as being a big pass rusher, not playing the run as well. He's much stronger and bigger now, playing the run good.
Complete to Jones. Let's see where they mark it. And where they're marking it is enough for the first down. So Chris Miller to Keith Jones for the first down.
Very good hands out of the backfield. Keith Jones caught a lot of balls in college, came out of a passing type situation. You're going to see him right to the right of your screen. He's going to get out and be working on number 28. Atkins right there for the first down. They give him his progress for the 1st and 10.
Real tight buddy of John Settle. And where John Settle was the quiet one his first year in the league, he's now very talkative, and Keith Jones is the very quiet one.
Here's that 2 tight end adjustment they made at the half to secure the corners.
Up over the top goes Jones. Inside the 20, a 3-yard leap.
They use that guy right there a lot like the Saints used Dalton Hilliard. They move him around in the formations. He'll be a one back in their passing situations. They'll split him out and try to get him matched up on a strong safety and move him all around.
Well, the coaching staff of the Saints said that that trio of running backs of the Falcons potentially is a very dangerous one. More options for the Falcons than they had with Gerald Riggs there. Center. Second effort gives them about 1.5 yards. Vaughn Johnson and Frank Warren in on the stuff. Green Bay and Detroit, the first meeting between father and son. Willie Pete, of course, the running back coach at Green Bay, and Green Bay is leading that one, 13-10, and Rodney Pete, of course, the quarterback for the Detroit Lions. 3rd and 7 for the Falcons. Complete to Collins. Touchdown, Atlanta.
Well, if you're playing defensive back, here's what you see. You're backing up, and here you see the quarterback's going to step up and throws a real strike to Sean Collins. Puts the ball right on the outside where it's supposed to be. He has a step on Toy Cook for the touchdown.
And McFadden, the barefoot kicker, will attempt the point after. And it's good. And the man that Sean Collins felt that he could do some business on, Toy Cook, is exploited in Atlanta, finally on the scoreboard.
They're going to send Sean Collins in motion. He's going to come back and then go to the corner. They see who's covering him. It's going to be number 41, Toy Cook. Gives them the matchup that they want, what they're trying to achieve. There goes Collins in motion. They see 41, Toy Cook, going with him. They know that that's the man he's on, and they like that matchup. He's bigger, stronger. They get the corner route, a good throw, and 6.
So Paul McFadden with a high but short kick. Taken by Andre Johnson, who gets up back around the 28-yard line. Sean Collins came into the game leading all rookie wide receivers with 27 receptions for 428 yards, in some good company there. Floyd Turner, of course, with New Orleans. Sean Collins now with 29 catches, 457 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and a real likable guy.
Very likable. A lot of confidence. You could tell he was very confident for a rookie. I think you have to like his size. He's like 6'2", 6'3", 208, 210. Good player.
Hilliard and Hayward, the backs. Play action. Hebert runs for the first down. Run out of bounds by Mike Gann.
Well, Bobby does the right thing by pulling the ball down and running with it, but here he holds the ball up in the air, right here. Watch that. He does that to try to make that defensive back stay back as far as possible so that he can get on up for more yards.
When you're running for your life, you can pick up a few extra...
Always know where the sidelines are.
A few extra yards when you're running scared. First and 10 from the 40. Flags on the play, Andre Bruce. So Andre Bruce, second-year player out of Auburn, didn't get back in time. Yeah, he'll get it right.
I think this 60, 70,000 people will straighten him out.
Offside, number 93 on the defense, 5 yards, still first down.
Really, Andre Bruce has really not come in to be the type of player that they expected. He's still in a learning process and has to do more thinking than reacting, and I think that will come with more experience.
Some of his own teammates said they would like to see him just turn loose from the right side of the defense. First and 5 for the Saints. Ironhead in motion. Complete to Hilliard. The pictures tell the story.
He's fun to watch. Here you're going to see an example of his leg strength. We talked about his build earlier, not big up top, but big thighs and strong legs. And watch this balance and his strength. Takes a lick right there. He knocks him back, keeps his balance, and gets up in there for the first down.
6 catches for 88 yards on the afternoon already. Previous high, 84 yards. He's having a whale of a year. Hilliard again. Snake, he talked about how the offense could help him set up for later in the game for his cutback moves.
He helps everybody with the way that he runs. Is what he does is he dips in and dips out, and he sets up blockers for his offensive lineman by making a linebacker react a certain way with a little juke, gives better blocking angles for his offensive lineman.
Second and 5. Floyd Turner. Wide right. To Hilliard again. First down. Well, on the playground, we say you milk it until it runs dry.
Exactly, and as we said earlier, they're playing a matchup type zone. It's a zone where the linebackers will drop out of there. There is a guy that's kind of free in the middle that you have to be aware of, but anytime you play those type things, as you said, you just keep dumping it to your backs and tight ends until they stop it.
The Atlanta defense on the field a long time. Hilliard, flag on the play. And a loss on the play as Ben Thomas grabs him by the shoulder pads. Ben Thomas, a journeyman lineman. And that will go against the Saints.
Illegal motion, 67 offense, penalty decline, second down.
Your good friend.
Yeah, it's our Buffalo buddy, Stan Brock. Stan's been a long-term player here, and he's been a really outstanding leader on this team. And Stan Brock is a good football player, good pass protector, good run blocker.
A loss of 3 on the play will bring up a 2nd and 13, and you see how valuable this guy has been, catching and running. Hebert under pressure, intended receiver was Lonzel Hill. Charles Demery.
Right-hand side of your screen, here they come, the linebackers. Here comes Rady, and here comes number 58, Tuggle. One of the ways to try to get more pressure on Bobby Hebert, bring those linebackers.
complete, but out of bounds to Brett Perryman.
Well, there's been a bright spot for this Atlanta team. A very exciting player. Has the ability to play both corner positions. Good punt returner, kickoff returner. Very dangerous.
When we talk to the Falcons about who the defensive leader is, they really don't claim one, but they think this guy, Deion Sanders, could be it.
Certainly has the ability to back it up, too.
But they want him to be with the squad a year. Tommy Barnhart, low snap, high punt. 4-2 hang time on that punt. And the Falcons will be starting with not great field position from their own 11. 6 Super Bowls, soon to be number 7. New Orleans Saints on top 10-7, and the Saints have always done well in the first half this season, either leading or being tied at the half. It's been the second half that's caused some problems.
They've had problems in the second half. They've lost leads in the second half, come from behind losses to the Green Bay Packers early in the year. They've got to get it cranked up.
And Jim Morris says these Falcons are dangerous. Complete to Lang, and Lang with the first down. Good second effort by Gene Lang, 6-year player out of LSU, playing in front of his hometown fans.
Gene Lang, formerly with the Denver Broncos, they use him the very same way there as they do here. They use him at tight end some, throw the ball to him, they'll line him up in the backfield, send him in motion and get the ball to him. Versatile player.
I'd hate to see his family's grocery bill for this weekend. He took half the Atlanta squad over to his house for dinner yesterday. Dixon and Collins. Now Lang as the wideouts. Settle, the ball carrier. Up near the 34-yard line. Gain of 5 on the play. And the offensive line doing a job right now. John Settle says he really believes this squad can do the job on the ground if they can ever get to the ground game. And Wayne Radloff, of course, a veteran of 5 years in the league, doing a good job on the left side of the line.
Yeah, that group right there, there's been a lot of change. Of course, Bill Frelick came in late. Jamie Dukes at center is new. Wayne Radloff been injured. They've had to shake up that offensive line.
As bad as the Falcons played in the first half, they're only down by 3. Miller with all kinds of time. Now loses the ball. And it looks like the Saints recover. Big Wayne Martin recovers the fumble for the Saints.
Well, this is just a really bad decision. This is a really young player's mistake that he'll hopefully learn for. Watch his feet start jumping around right here. See his feet jumping around. A little indecision in his mind. The best thing right there is throw the ball in the stands and start over. He'll learn from that. looks like one of the Pittsburgh linebackers I played against, Jack Lambert.
3 turnovers, crucial ones, by the Falcons. Saints, excellent field position. Hilliard. 3-yard run. 4:15 remaining in the third quarter. Atlanta trailing by 3 to the New Orleans Saints.
Well, they lost the momentum earlier. The Falcons took the ball in for a touchdown. Momentum seemed to swing to the Falcon side of the ball. Then you get a big defensive play, forced the fumble, got them in good shape.
These New Orleans Saints have won the last 4 meetings with the Falcons. They're in a battle right now. Overthrows Hobie Brenner, the intended receiver. Will bring up a 3rd and 7. Robert Moore on the coverage. You may wonder what those are on the table there. Photographs from the press box of the Atlanta defense. As a matter of fact, the Saints coaching staff takes 2 pictures per play, what the defense looks like at the start and at the snap. Incomplete, as Eric Martin almost had his head taken off by Charles Demery. That might be a cause for a little discussion on the part of the wide receiver and the quarterback.
Got to keep that ball down around those numbers. Those high passes like that are tipped up, plus receivers don't particularly like it. It exposes those ribs. Looks like that particular time that Bobby had his mind made up. I'm going to throw the ball over the middle. Really didn't take a look at the whole field. You have to see the field.
This will be a 44-yarder. And you saw the numbers. Morton Anderson, 2 of 3 from that distance. Make it 3 of 4. Saints expand their lead by 6. 13-7, New Orleans lead. 3:19 remaining in the third quarter. And Morton Anderson, 8 of 8 field goals. So a little bit of difficulty during one stretch, Snake, but just like a golf swing, he's got it back in the groove. Prime time from the 4. And prime time, showing why the nickname. 71 yards. Quiet off the field, but boy, can he back up his talking on the field.
You think he knows when the camera's on him? Prime-time player. Anytime he touches it, he's very, very capable, and he shows you why. Watch this stop and go and the great acceleration. Look at the balance right there. Look at the ability to see everybody and find out where those lanes, and then the great speed.
And Robert Massey was in full stride when he came within a yard of him. Complete to Dixon. Ricky Jackson on the tackle. 5-yard pass play.
Good way to offset a lot of that pass rush from the outside. Swilling and Jackson is to take those 3-step drops, get the ball going quickly on the short little routes as they did there.
Having played with the Raiders, you can appreciate the cockiness of a guy like a Deion Sanders.
Well, as long as you back it up, and he certainly backs it up. He talks a good game and goes out and returns punts for a touchdown, plays both corners, does it all.
2nd and 5. Settle. Flags everywhere. Ball is loose. Play was whistled dead. Seemed to be a little bit of a bad exchange there, Snake. And Chris Miller talked about that being one bit of difficulty working with Jamie Dukes as opposed to longtime center Wayne Radloff.
False start, at least 2 members of the offensive line. 5 yards for a second down.
There's Jamie Dukes, 6'1", 285. A little different from a taller Wayne Radloff at 6'5", 277.
Well, right up the middle, a little slant type play. Looks like the ball is knocked out by number 94. Jim Wilkes gets his left hand on, knocks it out, but the flag is dropped.
Boy, Jim Wilkes is really playing the football of his career. 9-year veteran out of San Diego State. And again, as you take a look at Jamie Dukes, kind of a big set of grocery bags back there.
Yeah, different bottom to put your hand under. Different centers have different bottoms, and you have to find that little spot up under that where you can bring the ball back.
Settle. a grand total of 1 yard on the play. Vaughn Johnson all over it.
The Saints getting good pressure, and they make Chris Miller just improvise any way he can to try to get the ball out. Flips it out there to Settle, who tries to do what he can with it. That pressure forces you to do a lot of different things. You have to contend with guys like that right there, Vaughn Johnson, Jackson, and Swilling, the Dome Patrol.
Vaughn Johnson, nicknamed Meat. Incomplete. Stacey Bailey, the intended receiver.
Had the matchup that they wanted. Stacey Bailey out on the rookie Robert Massey, ball thrown just a little bit too far outside. One thing you notice, they did get the good pass protection there in the long yardage situation.
Paul McFadden will attempt a 41-yarder, and he is 0 of 3 from this distance. The holder will be Chris Miller. Make it 1 of 4. So the Falcons draw back within 3. Score indicates why this has been a good rivalry. Atlanta coming off of a horrible first half, now back into the ball game, trailing 13-10. And Kenny Stabler, of course, was commenting about how, again, you never know, first half to second half, 2 different ball games.
Yeah, every half is a separate entity, and you have to go out and reestablish the things that you did in the first half in the second.
Ball is loose. Atlanta recovers.
I don't know. Yep. Nope.
Well, they point as if it was recovered. Gene Atkins lost the handle on that one. And was he that quick to get back in there and recover?
I think he's just happy that ball popped right back to him. Watch this. They really dodged one right here. They've got the return set up. You see John Tice, 82, breaks outside right there. And then here comes the fumble right here. And that ball takes a bounce that is just absolutely perfect. Bounced right under Gene Atkins' stomach.
Design play.
Way you draw it up.
1st and 10 from the 33. Play action. Hebert loses the ball. Was the play whistle dead? Apparently so. Can't tell it by them. Boy, was Tim Green enthusiastic about that?
Well, Hebert's little play fake in there to Hayward. He's going to try to find Hayward and get it to him. The ball's knocked loose. Now, if you don't think that little thing doesn't draw a crowd, watch this little exchange right here. There it goes. Everybody taking a shot at it like it's the last biscuit on the table. Yo.
The last biscuit on the table. 2nd and 14, Hilliard. Dalton Hilliard with a magnificent run. Snake in very tight quarters. He picks up 9 yards.
Really cuts back so well, and like we said earlier, sets up the blocks and has that great cutback ability, and you have to have the good peripheral vision to do that. Here it is, little draw action. They give it to him right in behind 34. Hey, watch that cut right there. Good cut right there. Then that strong leg drive, picking those knees up.
As the clock continues down with 47 seconds remaining in the 3rd. Third and 5. Hebert airing it out. Just beyond the outstretched hands of Floyd Turner. And again, a big day in college football yesterday Notre Dame continue to show why they're clearly number one. Miami of Florida with its first loss. Florida State finally up into them. Colorado, first time in 33 years over top of Oklahoma. And Nebraska, of course, a winner. That sets up a nice battle next week. Colorado against Nebraska right here on CBS. Jim Nantz, Pat Hayden, and John Dockery will call the action for you. Saints, Tommy Barnhart will punt. And the electrifying one, Deion Sanders, back. And Sanders complaining that Brett Maxey got in his way and he wasn't able to go and actually field it. A 37-yard punt.
He's trying to make the catch, and he's going to complain a little bit. He didn't have really room to make the play, and he doesn't have a complaint there. Nice coverage by Brett Maxey.
Hey, but Sanders wants to run.
Wants to go with it.
"20 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Saints on top, 13-10. Gene Lang to the bottom of your screen, settled the lone back. A little too hard a pass intended for Sean Collins as Chris Miller again finds himself hurried.
Had to push it up in the pocket. People coming from both sides on the outside. He steps up in the pocket. Almost made a big play out of nothing. That kid's got a little ways to go, but I think he has all the tools that it takes to be a very successful quarterback. He's a tremendous competitor that hates to lose and works real hard. A gym rat, so to speak. Stays in the gym, works out all the time. Very low, 3 handicap golfer. Tremendous athlete.
"15 seconds remaining in the third. On second down. Miller complete to Ron Heller for the first down. Gene Atkins on the tackle. So that 15-yard pass play from Miller to Heller ends the quarter with the Saints leading it 13-10.
Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. New York Light, the company you keep. And by the new generation of Oldsmobile. Step into the future now at your Oldsmobile dealer.
After only 4 total yards in the first half, Atlanta has come up with 91 yards in the third quarter. Now trail by only 3. And you take a look at the scoring by quarters. Got us a ball game here. 1st and 10 for the Falcons to open up the final stanza. And Miller complete to Floyd Dixon for the first down.
Floyd Dixon on the outside, working on that loose type zone coverage. They get the good pass protection, and you look out there and you see that. You see how close the receiver has lined up. That gives him more room to break to the sidelines, breaks the sidelines. Quarterback keep the ball low and outside.
And after dropping one earlier, Floyd Dixon certainly looked that one in. Ball across midfield, marked at the 48 of New Orleans. 3 wideouts in for the Falcons. Miller with plenty of time. Going up top, looking for Lang. Overthrows it. Ken, you mentioned that the Atlanta defense deserves a little credit as well.
Well, I think they settled down that last quarter, JB. They get the fumble, Bobby Hebert fumble. Because of the pressure, they're starting to get Marcus Cotton involved in the game and putting pressure on Hebert. So maybe their defense is starting to make the adjustments that they need.
Most of the key performers for that head coach there, Marion Campbell, are indeed young players. 25 years or younger. Sean Collins, Chris Miller, Andre Bruce, Marcus Cotton, John Settle, and company. Settle on second down. And the Saints defense not giving him much to run with. Only a yard gain. Massey and Mills.
Well, bouncing outside with the ball is tough against this team. That dome patrol really slides to the ball, and they pursue very well. Little draw action to get outside. But anything that stretches that defense is tough for the Saints because they really flow the ball. Now they've gotten themselves into another one of those third and long situations where Swilling and Jackson are trouble.
Milton Mack and Brett Maxey in. 6 DBs. And Miller lucky just to get it away as Ricky Jackson had a conversation with Pat Swilling and said, "I'll meet you at the quarterback."
That's what happens when you get in those third and longs. If they put those two guys down, they put Ricky Jackson up, Swilling down, and they meet at the quarterback.
And although statistically Chris Miller is having a better second half, I don't know that his backside feels any better. Scott Fulhagen to punt for the Falcons. Lonzel Hill back for the Saints. Hill from the 15. And the special teams does the job. 32-yard punt, only an 8-yard return. Two different ball games indeed for the Atlanta Falcons, first half to second half. Only 4 total yards, much better in the second half, and Neon Dion electrified them with that return.
Well, you get those kind of punt returns, and that's what he does for you. You know, he can give you the field position that you need to get in. They get the ball down there. They come away with 3 points. Earlier, they got the ball out at midfield, and from there, they get a touchdown. So field position awfully important.
Saints coaching staff talked about how last week a lot of pressure put on Jim Everett. They had to do the same thing today with Chris Miller. I think they've accomplished that.
I think so.
Complete. Eric Martin down to the 35 of Atlanta.
The play fake, there's the play fake, is to hold the linebackers. A little quick slant to the inside by Eric Martin. Breaks a tackle, breaks Demery's tackle. Then it takes the speed of Neon Sanders to run him down.
39-yard pass play. Chicago LA Rams update. Let's take you to New York and Brent Musburger.
And JB, it is Brad Muster, the Bear fullback, from a yard out. Some say he'd make a tight end, but he looks like a pretty good fullback there. Let's send it back to JB.
All right, the last time Chicago lost 4 games in a row was back in 1981. Do you think Mike Ditka was a madman this week?
Woo! He'll choke them if they don't win.
2nd and 9 from the 35. Hilliard. Hit hard by Jesse Tuggle. Drove him back after a 5-yard gain. Battle of NFC West opponents. New Orleans and Atlanta. James Brown along with Ken Stabler. And Atlanta certainly has put together a better second half. The heat defensively by the Saints is still on them, but the Falcons only trail by 3.
Well, you need a guy like a Ricky Jackson for the Saints who emotionally fires up your team. Tim Green, rookie linebacker, this is his way of taking over the role as the leader to fire guys up.
And Marion Campbell certainly likes what he sees there, and if Tim Green will be the guy to fire him up emotionally, then hey, so be it. Third and 4. 4 wideouts in for the Saints. Perryman and Turner. Complete to Hill. 10, operating on Robert Moore.
Lonzell Hill in the slot is going to come down and run an in route. Takes a little while to develop, so you have to have the pass protection. Bobby Hebert gets the pass protection, throws a strike, and they're down in there.
Ball is marked at the 10, so it'll be first and goal from the 10. Hilliard. Boy, the quickness that he uses on his cutback to make something out of nothing, down near the 6.
Came in with 2 tight ends to run the ball, primarily to run the ball. You pitch it to Dalton Hilliard, straight ahead blocking, man on man, let him cut and find the hole.
Obviously, Jim Mora has nothing but superlatives for Dalton Hilliard. You think New Orleans has been productive in the scoring territory?
Well, that's where it counts. You got to get it in down here.
And all 12, as indicated, were touchdowns. Hilliard. John Rady had other ideas at time, the 7th-year vet from Boise State.
Almost the same type play as before. They string it out well. They pitch the ball to, well, they hand the ball to Dalton Hilliard. He tries to find the place to cut back. Nowhere to go. John Rady, 59, 58, Tuggle, and 99, Jim Green.
And boy, Green is definitely staying enthusiastic. I told him that was very un-lawyer-like on his part. Third down. Hebert's pass nearly picked off by Evan Cooper. And a little extracurricular. And Kenny, the hitting that took place after that was all legitimate because the ball was still alive.
Sure, the ball tipped up in the air. Almost a mistake on the Hebert's part of trying to force that in there, and you take points off the board with the turnover down here.
Trapillo, a 6'5", 281, was turning around asking, who wants me?
Well, right here, Bobby's in trouble back in the pocket with people all around him and gets rid of the ball. Number 22, Demery, gets a hand on it, and then it's just a free-for-all. Well, there's the reason why. Trapillo comes in and says, how are you doing today?
But you notice, all the DBs, all they could do is basically chatter.
Just chatter, grab a jersey, and get out of the way.
23-yard field goal attempt by Morton Anderson. And, folks, that was not a smooth bit of execution on a part of that field goal attempt. The holder was John Forcade. The center was Joel Hilgenberg.
Well, watch the hole. Watch the hole right here. The timing is so important and so critical to this. It's a good snap, but the ball is not handled cleanly. It's laid down and then picked up, and the laces are away. The timing has to be much, much better in order to have a good field goal.
Offensive march by the Saints came up empty-handed, but that line is back to work over there, and this is what they're looking at in the huddle there. Those pictures that I was telling you about, 2 pictures taking every defensive play.
Paul Boudreau, offensive line coach, going over with alignments with the offensive lineman.
Jones, the ball carrier. And I guess just to elaborate on that, maybe the obvious, those pictures help Paul Boudreau in determining what?
They help him determine the alignment of the defensive line and linebackers, if they're cheating one side or taking their gap, and really just tells him where they are where their alignments are on different downs on the field so that they can make their adjustments in the offensive line.
And you figure anywhere from 60 to 70 plays a game, so that's a lot of film per game. 120 to 140 pictures a game. 2nd and 5 for the Falcons. Complete to Dixon for the first down. Robert Massey runs him out of bounds near the 35.
Well, everybody has picked on the Saints corners. They picked on Toy Cook and Milton Mack and the rookie, of course, Robert Massey. No exception here. They look out, see the loose coverage, take the out.
Saints are really high on Robert Massey. Not only confidence, more importantly, he can play.
Will get better and better once he gets the experience. Right now, going through a learning process of all the various combination coverages, things like that, but has all the ability he needs.
Told us a couple of weeks ago, hey, bring the ball my side. I want it. 1st and 10. Settle, the lone back for the Falcons. Complete. About an 8-yard pickup, Floyd Dixon. Once again, call it 9.
Again, same situation. Look out there, soft coverage, raise up, and just take it.
Something that the Cardinals used effectively last week against the Falcons.
Sure, Cardinals used it very effectively. As a matter of fact, J.T. Thomas broke a couple of long ones for touchdowns, and it's a situation where if you get the ball to the receiver early enough, he has time to turn, give a little move to the defensive back, hope he breaks the tackle.
2nd and 1. Settle and Jones in the eye. This is Settle. And Settle gets the first down. So John Settle with the bull run keeps the Falcons drive alive with 6:58 remaining in the contest. Nebraska and Colorado coming up next Saturday here on CBS, 2:30 Eastern Time. The Cornhuskers are now short of their 28th consecutive winning season. And the Buffaloes, who defeated Oklahoma and Norman yesterday for the first time since 1956, anxiously looking forward to the matchup. Incomplete to Sean Collins. Robert Massey right on top of him.
Well, that's the guy that they're working on, but watch the technique here used by Sean Collins. I think he makes a mistake by letting the ball get on top of him. Miller lets him run, then he comes back down the sideline. When he throws the ball, he lets the ball get in on his shoulder pads and against his face mask. You've got to get your hands out in front. Catch the ball in your hands.
Brett Maxey and Milton Mack in with the dime defensive package for the Saints. Settle. First down. Well, John Settle said he wanted the ball more. I guess he's showing us why.
Well, there's one of the reasons why. That time they give him a passing type formation. They send Keith Jones in motion. Looks even more like a passing situation. And you pop Tuttle up in there with a quick hitter.
John Settle, 10 carries for 34 yards. And keep in mind, coming up next, a strong one, the Philadelphia Eagles against the Denver Broncos. Boy, Denver went from being a quick finesse defensive team to a big, strong one.
Yeah, new defensive coordinator Wade Phillips, as we said earlier, has gone to a bigger, stronger, more aggressive type of defense.
And the clock ticking away, 5:37 remaining in the contest. Atlanta trailing by 3. Jackson, complete to Settle. Robert Massey runs him out of bounds.
And you can get your backs involved in the passing game when you are able to run the ball a little bit. Here, watch this. They come out, fake the run, which has been successful, and then settle, the good pass receiving fullback into the flats.
No, Settle was rather subtle on that play.
Settle with a settle catch or settle with a subtle catch.
We'll buy either one. 4-yard gain on the play is the net result. Brings up a 2nd and 6. Ball at the 36. Jones dives near the first down mark. Well, we've got another update on that Rams-Bears game. Let's go back to New York and Brent.
JB, here's a player that fans of the New Orleans Saints remember from his days at LSU. Wendell Davis makes a great catch, sets up a touchdown run by Harbaugh, and the Bears are starting to pull away 17-3. Back to JB.
17-3 Bears. You know, I would love to have been a fly on the wall all week long listening to Dick motivate his players.
I bet you part of that conversation was X-rated.
Perhaps the majority of it. And this looks to be that close. Boy, talk about where the ball is spotted.
It's so important. Short yardage situations, that spot is all important.
Well, speaking of the ball might be a little longer if Dave Waymer has his way with the new commissioner.
Yeah, there's a shot of the ball right now. Dave Waymer says they're going to have to lengthen the ball to get Paul Tagliabue's name across it.
Position 65.
Of course, Pete Rozell's name is on there now. Waymer said Tagliabue. Yeah, that's a long ball.
There's Davey Waymer. Played with him when I was here. He's got a nice little farm in the Carolinas. Nice guy.
Mr. Emotional as well. 3rd and inches. Settle.
Oh!
And partner, Sam Mills eliminated the inches.
Well, there are people that said that Sam Mills was too short to play. He's only 5'8", 5'9", but hits like a much, much bigger player.
Mills at 5'9", 225, Settle at 5'9", 210. A 48-yard field goal attempt by Paul McFadden. And this one just makes it. So McFadden, who had been 0 of 3 from that distance coming into the game, 2 for 2 for that distance today. And we've got a tie ball game, 13 apiece with 4:06 remaining. Now we know why this rivalry is every bit the way folks have pumped it up to be. The Bear back into action on this drive coming up. And don't forget what should be a very nice contest coming up next. The Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Denver Broncos. Of course, Philadelphia, Buddy Ryan really has the Eagles playing well. Talk about a defensive front seven.
Very good defensive front seven, and it's always fun to watch Randall Cunningham run around back there and work his magic. Mike Quick, outstanding wide receiver.
Isn't that interesting? We talk more about the defense of those two squads, and of course they've got Cunningham and Elway. 1st and 10. Hebert back to pass. Going up for Martin. He's got him. A 50-yard pass play. Hebert to Eric Martin.
Eric Martin just going to give it a little corner route. The mistake is made by Demery, number 22. Demery goes for the interception. Here he comes in. There's the break. Back to the corner. Well thrown. Goes for the interception. And if you don't make it, you're in trouble.
I hear you talk so often about a receiver selling a move.
That's exactly right. Give him that good inside move. Make Demery respect the inside. Break it off.
Hayward. Down near the 20. 4-yard run by Ironhead. And the clock continues to tick. 3:37 remaining in the contest.
Well, from a quarterback standpoint, if you're Bobby Hebert, it's one thing you have to keep in your mind. Of course, you want to get the game down to the 2 minutes. But you do not want to force anything down here because you have the ability right now to maybe win the game with a field goal if you can get the clock down. So always have in the back of your mind as a quarterback, don't force anything. Don't throw the interception.
Hilliard. 1st down. Boy, what a weapon.
Well, no indecision here. Watch Dalton Hilliard. Once he sees the lane he wants to run in. Right there. No hesitation. Just turn it on. Use that leg drive and that straight.
As you can take a look at Hilliard limping slightly, bruised that knee in the first half. His numbers you see there, 22 rushes, 88 yards.
Look at the legs and the calves on that guy right there. Strong, strong legs.
I asked to borrow them when I'm heading to the beach this summer. Would look a little funny on me. Both teams had their full complement of timeouts. Marion Campbell did not like what he saw, obviously. Burned off one of his timeouts.
Well, you go over several different plays from that perspective, what we saw with Bobby Hebert and the Saints coaches over there. You've got a group of plays, a selection of plays that you can use down in there, and they're going over those now. Conversely, other side of the field, what defense do we get in? What gaps do we play? What to use?
Big Claude Humphrey to the left of Coach Marion Campbell.
Well, they're staying at home pretty well. He has that great cutback ability. They string it out on one side, but stay at home on the other side.
And Marion Campbell burning off yet another timeout.
Wants to take his timeout now, then use the 2-minute warning as the extra timeout.
As John Rady and Joel Williams run over to have a little conversation with Marion Campbell. And again, talk about having a feel for the game. Marion Campbell, that was the first timeout that he yelled for, upset on that long gainer, obviously.
Yeah, seconds are so precious in a very close football game, and you can't afford to waste them.
Well, you certainly can't knock him for not having his troops fired up in the second half, because they certainly have come out and made this a ball game in the second half.
Didn't play very well last week against the Phoenix Cardinals and didn't show much emotion, didn't like the way that they played, blasted a bunch of them this past week for not playing with a little bit more emotion, and said that more of those guys needed to make football a priority.
Takes a lot for Campbell to blast you, because he's known as a kind of a player's coach, a veteran's coach at that, because he's such an easygoing guy. Second and goal. Ball at the 4.
Got a play pass.
Hilliard. Close, but not there.
Well, a real nice job on the left side. Brad Elliman, 63, Dombrowski, 72. Good block by Hayward, number 34. Sees the crease, takes it. They do a nice job of meeting him in there. Number 58, Jesse Tuggle, of keeping him out of the end zone.
And Atlanta has just burned off its last timeout with 2:17 remaining. So Campbell really trying to walk his troops through this one. Obviously very crucial. Snake, I guess you have to also like the kind of gumption that Dalton Hilliard is showing. Bruised knee, sat out a good portion of plays, but in there when it counts and still running hard and effectively.
And the thing you like is that your players at the skill positions have to make the big plays when the game is on the line. Bobby Hebert makes a very nice completion to Eric Martin, halfway up the field for a big gainer. Then they get Dalton Hilliard, a big play at the specialty positions. He makes a big play. Your great players have to make great plays.
Dalton Hilliard with 24 carries for 88 yards, one carry away from his career high, and that came against these same Atlanta Falcons. Hilliard. Touchdown, New Orleans. Second touchdown of the afternoon for Dalton Hilliard. Morton Anderson with the point after. And it's good. So the New Orleans Saints, with 2:12 remaining in the contest, move out in front of the Atlanta Falcons by a touchdown.
Well, a very nice block by Trapillo, the right guard. Trapillo's going to pull out, kick out. There he comes. And then watch this great cutback ability we've been talking about. Right there. Stops, cuts back behind Trapillo. Touchdown. The Dalton Hilliard Show. Here's a low angle of it. Same thing. Here comes Trapillo, 65, pulling out. There he is. He cuts up in the hole, and there's that cutback ability. Stop. Nice shot, guys.
Hilliard had his first 3-touchdown afternoon against the Rams last week. He's one shy of that today. And with 2:12 remaining in the contest, again, Snake, a lot of time, and particularly when you have a guy with the excitement and speed of Deion Sanders.
That's exactly right. Field position becomes awfully important. Sanders is the guy that can give you the field position. We have to remember that they used all of their timeouts to try to stop that last drive by the Saints, so Chris Miller will have to be very aware of that, use the sidelines.
If you take a look at Deion Sanders in the end zone for the Falcons, he's actually clapping and cheering the fans on.
I think he likes it.
He loves it. He loves this stage. Morton Anderson gets it away. This one will come to Sanders at the 11. And it looks like they want to make absolutely certain he doesn't get up. Now, if you judge by Dave Waymer, he's saying that the ball came loose and maybe the Saints have recovered. We'll wait and see. This one being discussed down on the field, and maybe a little help may come from up in the booth. Snake, that's the only trouble with doing a little bit of showboating, is when it comes back to haunt you.
That's exactly right. Those are the type of situations that he's trying to make something happen. He's trying to use that great ability to run all over the field, try to break something, but you've got to protect the football.
Looked like Walter Johnson from Louisiana Tech knocked the ball loose.
My personal ruling was in haste. After the pile was untangled, number 21 of Atlanta had possession of the football. It is a first down.
Now the key expression there, my personal haste, did not apparently seek assistance from the replay booth, because certainly the angle we had did show the ball came loose.
Admitted he called the thing a little hastily. Let's see right here. There's Sanders dancing around. I think that's...
The ball's loose there. Let's see, under the foul. And that is actually a little hustle between Bobby Morris and Sanders. They give it to Sanders. Nickel seats getting a good game down on field. A first half that belonged to New Orleans. A back and forth second half. And we've got a contest. Atlanta gets a break. Recovering a Deion Sanders fumble. Ball marked at their own 20.
Well, coming out right here, the quarterback has to think, I don't have any more timeouts. I've got to use the sideline. What defense am I going to face? Probably a real deep prevent type zone.
And Chris Miller turns to Gordon McCarter saying, I can't hear. I want you to help me out with the crowd. Saints players, of course, are arguing, hey, we jumped because he was going into the snap mode. And there is a flag on the near side. And McCarter and crew really getting the workout down the home stretch here.
I have asked the defense to assist in quelling crowd noise. There is no flag. There is no false start. Thank you for your cooperation.
Now, this was one of the stadiums that, of course, officials were concerned about preseason because of the noise here. We haven't seen that being much of a problem throughout this season, the first 7 games.
It really hasn't been. I think that they've instituted the rule of getting the defense to help calm down the crowd noise, and I think that's worked. I think the fans are very knowledgeable. They understand the importance of taking away timeouts and things like that.
Now, do you think that chatterboxes like Dave Waymer and Ricky Jackson actually want to hear that crowd quiet? We've come prepared. We have our own sound meter.
What do you call that thing?
Decibel meter.
I see.
What do you think the loudest noise would be?
My children's bedroom is pretty rough.
Warren and Jackson providing a little bit of a muffled effect for Chris Miller. Settled. Wrapped up. Jim Wilkes and Frank Warren doing the job. 3rd and 12 for the Falcons. Left in the game. 4th down for the Falcons. Swilling knocks it down. Marion Campbell knows great defense when he sees it, Snake. Simply sensational defense by the New Orleans Saints, who take over with 59 seconds remaining. Ball at the 11 of the Falcons. And you call that?
Well, in our system, we call it win the game. You just take the snap, make sure you handle the snap correctly, back up off the line a yard or so, go down to one knee.
Well, the first half did the Atlanta Falcons in. Had 2 crucial turnovers that they forced that they couldn't capitalize on. Came back and played a much better ball game in the second half, but the Saints defense rose to the occasion.
I think it boils down to not being able to protect their quarterback when they had to. You've got to give your quarterback time to throw the football. They weren't able to give him that protection all day.
So the New Orleans Saints make it 5 in a row over the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons lose their 7th road game. The Saints improve their record to 4-4. Marion Campbell and the Falcons drop to 2-6. Once again, our final score is New Orleans 20, Atlanta 13. For Ken Stabler, this is James Brown saying so long from the Superdome in New Orleans. CBS Sports, the National Football League will continue after this word from your local station.